Hey everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Soundtrack to the Night. In case you don't know by now, my name is Eden Coopermintz, and I am an editor for HeavyBlogIsHeavy.com. And this is where I give subjective reviews of playlists that help me through the many night shifts which I work. The idea is this: I get 6 albums which I have no control over, and then I listen to them back to back and give you my opinions on them. Now, for this episode, we did something a bit different. We didn't go to the blog staff for recommendations, but instead went to a man known as Andrew Westlake, one of the most beautiful men I know and a good friend of the blog. So he gave me 6 albums, and I will share with you my thoughts, images, and feelings when I listen to this playlist on one of my night shifts. Okay, got it? Let's get started. So, funnily enough, like the last list, we will start off with a post-rock album, this time from a project called Chronicle. The album is called Lights in Motion, and it's best described as a soundtrack to a movie if that soundtrack was made by a post-rock band. It's very dreamy and very landscape-ish. As with F-sharp, A-sharp, Infinity, which kicked us off last time, it has all these different layers of meaning to it. It's instrumental, so there are no speeches or heavy-handed lyricism like last time. It wasn't a very good opener because it didn't have enough substance. It's a very beautiful album, but like a lot of post-rock, which is a genre I have a love-hate relationship with, it didn't have any real meat in it. So it didn't quite hook me into the playlist, and I found myself forgetting it after a few short minutes. Again, a very beautiful album, but one which maybe is not a good opener for such a playlist. Now, this next album is a completely different story. It's from a band called Arcane from the Land Down Under, insert funny graphic here. In case you haven't heard of them, they're fronted by Caligula's Horse, one of my favorite bands. Their vocalist fronts this band, and I'm trying not to be too superlative here, but I'm not sure that I can, because this album has entered my all-time top 10. It's a double album called Known and Learned. Known is this progressive, dark alternative metal creation. It's a concept album about a soldier and a mother and their daughter, and it jumps back and forwards in time, and he goes to fight this war, and he comes back injured, everything goes to hell. And Learned is this much more tuned down, ambient, very melancholic album, but they come together to create this almost 2-hour long epic. And it's produced amazingly. Everything is crystal clear, subtle synths, which you can hear in the mix, and great guitar parts, and great singing. Great singing. The vocals are perhaps the best part of this album. They're so evocative, so powerful. I really can't stress enough how good this album is, and this is the opener for this playlist. After Chronicle, which maybe, it was all the way in the middle here, Arcane just everything skyrocketed up and exploded. It's such a great album. I can't stop listening to it. I really urge you to listen to the whole thing. It's amazing. So, this list is a bit on and off, as the next album, Arcade Messiah by Arcade Messiah, is again not quite as good as the previous one. It's again this it can be classified as post-rock, but it draws its influences more from guitar-based rock and grunge. So it's going for this a sludge post-rock atmosphere, and again, it's not bad. It's a good album, but it doesn't have any distinction to it. I mean, the guitar parts are beautifully composed and orchestrated, but at the end of the day, it really didn't move me. There were a few parts in the middle, maybe, where I found myself really intentively listening to this, but it was a bit of a slump energy-wise, not because the music isn't pumped. It is, it's rock, but it's not good enough. It doesn't hook you in. It doesn't really create its own place and invite you into it. So again, this was maybe a bit of a slump near the middle, but there's a lot more to come. And if the last album was a bit of a slump, and this album rockets us back up to the top again. It's the Mentalist Convention by James Norbert Ivani. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but I have no idea how to do it properly. So he's a guitarist as well, and the album is guitar-based, but it's so good. It has this versatility, which is amazing. Tracks like Thumb Trick are more technically oriented, but the rest of the tracks have this Opeth domination era synths, so this very creepy funereal feeling in the background, and none of it gets boring. I mean, this is guitar based. It can easily get into wankery levels and just technicality being thrown at you, but it never does. James has this amazing talent to compose and to produce something which is a cohesive whole. So this brought us back up again. It's really a very good technical album. It shows you how you can make technical guitar-based albums which are not boring. Sadly, once again, our list slumps off for me. We find ourselves with Holotropic and Permeate. Now, this is by far the heaviest album on this list. It's this progressive, technical, I don't know, death metal, modern metal, whatever you want to call it. And again, it's not bad. It has some great riffs, and it has some great heavy parts, especially near the end with the track Tantrums, which, you know, really got me headbanging because it has this very good, mean groove at the base of it. But a lot of it is forgettable. A lot of it, again, finds this one riff and this one vocal production which it likes, and it simply builds on that. And, you know, I'm a veteran listener of progressive. You can't fool me with taking a basic riff and then just building all these little blocks onto it. I know all the tricks in the book. So if you want to really be original and innovative, it's not enough. It's not enough to take a basic structure and then syncopate the drums and shift notes around. I've heard it before. So this is sadly the case with Holotropic Permeation, which is a shame because out of all the bands that I didn't like in this list, it's the most promising one. I think that if on their next release, they'll really go deep into the core of what makes them progressive and innovate on their basic sound, they could be a great band. They could be up there with, you know, the biggest names in progressive death today. So I'm waiting to see what they do next because this one was close, but it didn't quite hit the mark. Now it's time for the end of the list. And this album really encapsulates the rest of this list because everything was either low to middling or very, very, very good. And this last album is very good. It's Deliverance by Corporate. Now, this album is not metal. I repeat, not metal. It's this smooth, world music influenced, electronic, techno, EDM, whatever you want to call it. It's brilliant. Think The Algorithm if Remy was less crazy, so less breakbeats and less very fast stuff and more acoustic guitar, which is suddenly introduced into this electronic synthesized vibe, and it creates this amazing contrast. Tracks go from smooth, groovy, almost chill out music stuff to really fast and heavy techno and all these samples which live in between. I tell you, it's amazing. It's so refreshing to hear a techno and an electronic artist who is not afraid of introducing live recorded acoustic guitar, acoustic bass, drums, hymns, chanting. It's really, really great. It takes you on this amazing musical journey. So that's it from me, Eden Coopermintz, this time. Now, the next episode will be a fan submission episode. So please sound off in the comments below with your playlist suggestions. We love to hear from you. Also below will be links to all the albums and bands which I have discussed, so please head on over there and give them a listen, make up your own mind about this music. Shout out once again to Andrew Westlake, the sexiest friend that Heavy Blog has ever had. Thank you for this music. Remember, it's okay to disagree about things, and every single one of these albums was worth my time. So even if I didn't like some of them, it doesn't mean this playlist wasn't great, because at the end of the day, it introduced me to two of the best albums I've heard in recent years, Arcane and Culprit. Okay? So get out there, listen to music, and make up your own mind. So, as always, good night.